So this video would be a review, sound test, and teardown video of the Tribit Maxsound Plus. We're gonna start by playing the 2 songs through the speaker, and we'll hear how it sounds from that. Volume is currently at 50% with X bass on. It sounds really bad without it, so I will not be turning it off during the test. I'm gonna play a different song. Alright, here's the second song. Let's go. Alright, so after the 2 songs, you'll probably have a better idea of how the speaker sounds. As of now, I'm going to be going through the features of the speaker, what the speaker can do, you know, how to use it and all. So, the first thing, notice up here, it could do all the typical Bluetooth speaker stuff, play, pause, volume control, and all that. So, for pairing the speaker, all you have to do is lightly press the Bluetooth button once. It would go into pairing mode. If you long press the Bluetooth button, it would go into stereo mode, where you could pair another Tribit Maxsound Plus with the speaker. I'm not sure if you could pair other Tribit speaker with this. I don't have it. I didn't test it, but I'm going to assume that you would only be able to pair a Maxsound Plus with a Maxsound Plus. There's the power button, and lightly click it, lightly press it, it will turn it on and off. Here, this is the X bass button. This is basically a bass boost button. So by pressing that, you will be able to switch between 3 different modes of sound. The first mode is the default, which is neutral. There's no bass boost. There's nothing. The light would not be on. This is a default mode. There's no light, no nothing. That means it's got no bass boost, and it's just however it came out the box. It's defaulted to this mode as far as I remember. And then You click it once, you go into bass mode. It's called X bass. It boosts bass a little bit, and it makes it sound more fuller, and it doesn't sound as thin, because the default mode makes it sound very, very thin. In the third mode, I think it's called voice mode, which only has mids. There's no bass, there's no highs, only mids. This mode is for voice calls or audiobooks. I don't really know why you would need it, but it's there. So if you guys are interested, maybe that would be useful for someone. I don't really know. All right, I'm going to take a look at the charging. Let's take a look at the charging. There's the charging port over here. Let me pop that open. So in here, there is a 3.5mm audio input jack with a Type-C connector. That is it. That is basically everything. There's nothing much left to talk about for this speaker. It's a simple little Bluetooth speaker. As far as I know, there's no apps for it, which is fine. You don't really need that kind of stuff. Most phones have built-in EQs nowadays, especially Androids. So, without further ado, let's take it apart. Let's see what's inside. This is what I like to focus on the most, the build quality of the device, the speaker itself. So I'm going to take it apart. I'm not going to show you the process of taking it apart. I don't really see the need to do that. It's just a few screws removing it. Go look it up on FCC ID. There's probably information on there. People take stuff apart on the FCC ID website and upload pictures. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to take this thing apart and show you what's inside, and then take a look at how the build quality, you know, because this is a really cheap speaker. You get this for like $50, $60 on Amazon. So it's cheap in price, but is it made cheaply, or is it actually well made? We'll find out. So I'll be taking it apart. All right, so as you can see, I've taken the device apart, and there's two 45mm speakers, approximately 1.5 inch. You might recognize these. These are similar to the speakers used in JBL Flip 4, a similar kind of design, also in some other, you know, Bluetooth speakers the size of a JBL Flip 4. Here is a 2 lithium-ion battery 18650 battery pack. I will pop this open. We'll see what batteries they're using. Alright, so as you can see, it's using a 2200 milliamp hour 7.4 volt lithium-ion battery pack. There's one of the passive radiator. The other one is at the back of the speaker. That there with glue on it is the charging port. The glue is to seal it so that water and wouldn't go into the device and there won't be any air leaks. As you can see, for the build quality, every wire connecting to another component has these foam damping on it, which is this is a sign of quality, because the speaker would rattle, and if there isn't this kind of foam to prevent it from making noise, it would distort and make some really annoying rattling noises. Alright, looking at the circuit board itself, we have an ATS2825 Bluetooth chipset. That thing also has DSP built in. We have a TPA3118 power amplifier to power the stereo, the two 45mm full range drivers. We also have like a small part. That IC there, I don't know if it focuses. That IC there is for charging the battery. Over there, this connects to the port, the input port, the C-type, and all sorts of stuff like that. And that connects to this charges the battery here. This is where the battery is at. I think the battery has a protection circuit built in. I feel like there is like a circuit board inside of this battery pack, but I'm not really sure. I'm not going to be opening it. And also on top over here, you can see there is another little wire connecting to the top. That is the microphone. And every component, the buttons, the whatever, is all integrated in this circuit board, which is really good. It, you know, shows that it is well engineered, and the fact that when you look around, there is barely any component in the speaker that uses glue. That shows how well made this is. The only little part that uses glue is probably that, but you really can't, you know, do any there's really no other ways to prevent, you know, air leaks or anything that, or water leaking inside the device. So I'll have to say the glue here is necessary, and I don't think this is like a misuse of glue or putting too extra glue on it. All in all, I feel like the build quality of the speaker is pretty good. And another thing to note is the types of screws. There are also only 2 types. Everything, including the internal, the speakers, the battery, is held down by the shorter screws, whereas everything else other than the internals was just 8 screws, or 8 screws on the case is held on by the longer screws. It shows that it is well integrated. They're not, it isn't just like a slapdash Bluetooth speaker. They just smack everything together and hopefully that would make it work or whatever. They didn't do that, which is great. So I will be putting it back together, and hope this gives you a better idea of, I don't know, how good your speaker is, I guess, or gives you a better idea of should you get this. So my opinion, I feel like this is definitely a great choice. It sounds pretty good. Nothing wrong with that. And it's pretty well built. To be honest, I'm surprised by the build quality. No shit. It's pretty good, pretty well made. Everything is well engineered. It's well thought out. It's a system. It's not just a bunch of parts slapped together, which is really good. And it's not something you'd find every day on a cheap Chinese Bluetooth speaker. So, if I were to say, would I buy it? Yes, I would. Should you buy it if you want a small speaker about the size of a JBL Flip 4 or Flip 5 or Flip 6, whatever, while being half the price, and that sounds almost just as good, or probably better, to be honest, in some cases, go ahead. This is definitely a speaker that's worth buying.